Boker Tov, good morning. Today is the 14th of August, Erev Shabbat, Parshat Re'eh. It was Freud who established the principle, or coined the phrase, of the narcissism of small differences, which in effect suggests that communities, as one presentation has it, communities with adjoining territories and close relationships are especially likely to engage in feuds and mutual ridicule and disagreement because of the hypersensitivity to details of differentiation. That's the principle as it's known, and I would like to suggest that it is in effect described in this week's parashah. The Torah says, in discussing actually seemingly a mitzvah about not marring one's body as an act of mourning, it uses the phrase in the following way: Banim atem l'Adonai Elohechem, you are all children to God, Lord your God. Lo titgodedu v'lo tasimu karcha bein einechem lamet. You shouldn't, as I described, you should not mar yourself and otherwise cause yourself blemishes as part of your grieving. And yet, the Gemara in Yevamot chooses to offer a different drasha. And it looks at the word lo titgodedu as if it relates to the word agudah. And agudah is something which binds together, but lo titgodedu is read as a warning on the Torah's part. Don't bind yourselves apart, in effect. Lo titgodedu, lo tasu agudot. Don't make separate camps of individuals. Each have your own grouping, separated from the others. Kagon beitin achat, beir achat, palga, etc. You shouldn't have one beitin where half of them are following one opinion in Beit Shammai, one are following Beit Hillel, etc., etc. So there is a very large conversation here about how we indeed must have a majority rules and other types of areas in which we'll talk about the halachic system, but that larger warning against people breaking off into factions is how we often read this statement in the Gemara Yevamot, that people will indeed do so, and as I described using that earlier quote of the narcissism of small differences, it really lies at the core of a problem that we've always had in the Jewish world, and it has only intensified in recent years. That we all have defined differences, which are sometimes not insignificant, but in the end, in the larger picture, they are. The notion that we should break off and indeed not function together or push people away because of differences that exist, which are really, in the scheme of things, in the end still minor. That's a warning shot the Torah has put out here. Figure it out. That's what the Torah, I think, wants to tell you. Because Banim atem l'Hashem Elokechem, you're all God's children. And if you can't recognize that larger unifying statement, and you'll have the areas in which you'll have disagreement, and you'll have it might not always work to everyone's agreement in any given situation, or not to everyone's pleasure. But ultimately, if you allow yourselves to separate off, and you fail to really work with the primary recognition that, hey, we're all in this together, we're all children of God, we're all Jewish children of God when it comes to the Jewish people, then we're in trouble. We're in trouble. Then we'll have agudot, every manner of faction, and we'll be so proud of the way in which we distinguish ourselves from the others, but we've missed the greater call, the greater expectation that we see ourselves as God's children, see one another that way. And when we do that, like in any family, whatever divides you, whatever the points of contention are, they're there. But ultimately, you say, "You're my brother, you're my sister, and I'm in this with you." That mindset is the one that must prevail, and certainly in dark times or in complicated times, that Jews have to be able to figure out the ways in which we're going to work together, whether it's across streams or within streams of Judaism, all the various factions in the Orthodox world. Let's figure it out. Let's keep in mind the overarching message of Banim Atem Hashem Elokeichem, you're all children of God, and the Agudot, the factions will not form, and we'll work out the way to be one people together. Have a Shabbat Shalom.